Hi and welcome to Coaches on the Couch, your relationship specialist exploring human behaviour. My name is Sharon Page and this is Phil Pollard, and today's topic of the show is how to break through from those past restraints.
Past restraints, Sharon. Look, past restraints, I often think, what do people mean by that? And it's all it is our history that stops us. You know, the past being stuff that's happened prior to this, and the restraints are like, I can't move forward because of something that's happened before this time.
And we all have it, right?
Yeah, we do have it. And look, we've got an amazing guest coming up later on the show, and he's a master in this, and we're really looking forward to having him on board. And also we've got he's brought along one of his clients, and we're going to be talking to one of his clients who's been through the process that he uses. So it's pretty cool to have him coming up. Yeah, it'd be great to have him coming up on the show.
So let's talk about those past restraints, Phil. Where do they come from?
Yeah, look, that's a great question, Sharon. There's stuff that happens in our life constantly. There's always life happening. And then there's things that happen to us, or they happen anyway, but we think they happen to us. So there's always things going on externally. And we've got this whole range of systems going on inside ourselves. We've got a belief system. And that belief system, even though, if I say BS, it doesn't mean anything else except belief system. But belief system is where we've taken everything that's been important to us, or values. We take all of our values and we apply them against the event outside of us that we've seen. And that affects
or heard,
seen,
or felt.
Anything through our five senses,
yeah.
right? Anything through what we've heard, what we've seen, what we smelt, tasted, or touched. Right? Any of those five senses, and we store it as a memory, and and they're good. We want that because you put your hand on a hot plate, and you want to remember to take that off straight away.
That's right.
But there's other things that happen as well, that events, and they affect our emotions, and everything does, and that affects our behaviour.
Yep.
So it's just like, this happens all the time, and it happens unconsciously because we've taken our values of the things that are important to us. We've gathered them from our friends, family, people we grew up with, even TV has influenced the things that we think about, right?
Yep.
And everything affects the way the world shows up for each and every one of us.
Absolutely, and we assign meaning to it.
We do.
We do. We something occurs, and then the meaning that we shape to that event makes the event for us.
I love your story you've got around being on stage.
Yeah.
I reckon you should share that with the viewers.
I reckon I shared a little bit on a prior episode, but I didn't delve into it. So a number of years ago, I had a fear of stage. Believe it or not, I had a fear of talking in front of people. You wouldn't think so these days.
Hard to believe.
So where it all came from was back in primary school, I had this thing that I loved performing on stage and just being up in front of people and entertaining people. And a group of my girlfriends, we decided to sing Boom Shake the Room at Monday morning assembly.
Tick, 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 boom.
Tick, 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 boom. So we did it. And the funny thing was we only ever rehearsed the first verse and the chorus.
Yep.
That's all we knew of the song. Which, if you've heard the song, the first verse is actually quite tricky to learn. So I was pretty proud of myself. Anyway, so we got up on stage and we performed this act, and we did the whole tick, 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 boom, and it was like cicadas. It was dead silent. Now, I don't know about you, but for us on Monday morning assembly, they used to set up the grades by, prep, grade 1, all the way up to the back.
Yep.
Yeah. And all you hear all of a sudden is the grade 5, 6 boys yelling out, "Oh, that's stupid. Oh my God, they don't even know the words."
Uh-huh.
So it was in that moment that I decided that I wasn't good enough. I decided that from now moving forward, I cannot get up in front of anyone and speak or perform or do anything in terms of...
Wow. So how old were you then, Sharon?
I would have been about 7.
Yeah, about 7.
Yeah.
And because the viewers can see you're not afraid of speaking in public now.
Not now.
So how did you? What was the event that got you to break through that?
The event that got me there was I always had this thing sort of reaching over and tapping me on the shoulder, and it was about having an impact in people's lives.
Yep.
And it started through one-on-one coaching, but then I realised I could have more of an impact on one-to-many, so in a group of people. And I got offered an opportunity to fly over to Adelaide and do my first program. And let me tell you that the few nights leading up to that, I was just so petrified.
Yep.
But I did it, and what it was underlying all the passion that just drove me forward, and I was able to overcome that perceived, fear, because once I got talking, I found that I actually loved it. And
Right.
it was just all this stuff, like we were saying, we just make up.
Yeah, that's all that past event stuff. Because if you think, in Sharon's case, for 20 years, she was driven by that belief she had when she was 7. So her life was being run by a 7-year-old, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Through all that time. And it's just, in noticing that, it's just when you know that, hang on, it's really not true, because when you got up and spoke in front of your group, you didn't die.
That's right.
Right? And you had these feelings, and those feelings of being nervous, and because you can either be nervous or you can be, what people call anxiety. It's actually the same feeling. It's just purely our interpretation of how our past has defined anxiety or nervousness.
That's right.
Right? So everything's the definition. Like, if you want to go to a longer extent, everything's actually made up.
Yeah.
Right?
Look, and the other thing that I learned from that too, Phil, was that I know this is thrown around a lot in the coaching world, but nothing has meaning except for the meaning you give it. All the meaning that I associated to that event just completely blew it up to something that it wasn't. And how I shaped myself because of it. It drove me to, the point in many instances where I let go of opportunities because of it. So
Now, I often hear that what you just said, that nothing has meaning. But at the end of the day, your lives mean something, and we'll mean something. But everything's our interpretation. The meaning we give to it, because as human beings, we do that automatically. We're automatically making meaning.
That's right.
I've got a toaster, and if I put bread in that every morning, it does its job. But if I'm not going to put the toast in one day, it's not going to scream at me and say, "Oh, what have I done? Didn't I make the toast right? Why isn't he putting toast in me?" Right? It's not trying to make meaning out of stuff. But we're going to hold that thought right now, because we're going to master of the meaning of life. And hang on with us straight after this break. We'll be back in about straight after this break.
Hi, and welcome back to Coaches on the Couch, your relationship specialist exploring human behaviour. We have been covering our topic of today's show, which is breaking free from past restraints. Now, as Phil alluded to before the break, we have a very special guest. Phil, would you like to introduce him?
Well, actually, yes, I will, Sharon. And look, our next guest, he actually suffered a brutal physical attack by 4 people late one evening, and his life changed forever. The psychological impact from that night stayed with him for over 10 years. And even after seeing traditional therapists, he recalls coming to terms with, this is as good as it's going to get. Till one day he undertook a process in his neuro-linguistic program training, and in 6 minutes it was gone and there was nothing there. From that moment, Jakub dedicated himself to becoming the best coach and mentor to free people from the trauma and pains of their past, so that they can be the best versions of themselves and truly thrive. Please welcome Jakub Wolanski.
Thank you very much, guys.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great to see you here, Jakub.
What an incredible story, Jakub.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so as Phil really beautifully said, it was an event that really changed my life. And at the moment, and probably for the good 3 or 4 years after that evening, I would say that it definitely didn't feel like a blessing until much later that I found out that it gave me an opportunity to understand what some people go through and what we call trauma or past experiences in life. And what it did is I was pretty much a happy-go-lucky type of kid, not a lot of massive direction in life, happy to hang out with my mates and go to the pub and drink and whatnot. But after that attack, I had a lot of insomnia, panic attacks, wasn't sleeping and whatnot, lost a lot of my friends, had to give up my work, and I was watching a lot of TV at night because I wasn't sleeping, and of course, who was on there? Our good friend Tony Robbins with his infomercials that he was doing at crazy hours.
Famous for those, yeah.
Yeah, and after seeing night after night and week after week and the Oprah Winfreys and the Bill Clintons and the Andre Agassi's on there, I thought there's got to be something to this. And so I finally purchased my first CD pack, and as I said, seeing all the traditional forms of therapy was great to what I call re-engagement within life. But when I started the personal development journey, I understood how our minds work and what you said so perfectly, Sharon, about, we are meaning-making machines.
Yeah.
That really gave me the probably the biggest breakthrough that I had. And if you'd probably met me some 5 or 6 years after that event, you would think, well, I was a pretty successful type of guy, six-figure salary, a lot of responsibility, I was married, had a great circle of friends. But inside, I was still very, very attached to that evening. And I still had a lot of impact that stopped me from progressing my life. And I sort of thought, well, maybe this is as good as it's going to get, and really I should be thankful, which I really was, because I had moved so much further from that evening, yet it was still so much part of me. And then I took up coaching, personal development as a career direction. I had a long history in leadership and sales training, so I was already doing a lot of it, but I wanted to formalise those skills. And then in my first training, somebody said, has anybody experienced this one-off event? And I was just like, all this emotion started coming up, and I just couldn't hold it back. And the trainer said, are we okay to help Jakub? And everyone's like, yeah, please, absolutely. And then, as you just said, in 6 minutes, gone, I could talk about it as I am today.
That is incredible.
It's phenomenal.
Absolutely incredible. For anyone else hearing this at home right now, I don't know what sort of trauma you perhaps have experienced, or whether you have or not, but just hearing this story, for me, I know, just to know that there is something out there that can assist you to get past it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible.
And I'll class myself as a relatively what I call logical type of person.
Yeah.
And if I can't see it, touch it, feel it, I'm always a little bit just on the outer edge of it. So if it didn't happen to me, I don't know that I really would have, believed it as passionately as I do today. So
Beautiful.
I'm glad I had that opportunity. To have
So
this
travelling
experience.
through it removed the doubt for you that some of the techniques and that you now practice
Yes.
actually work.
Absolutely.
So what can I ask you now? What was the technique that you used, or that was used on you?
Yeah, so through NLP, or Neuro-Linguistical Programming, it's called a collapsed anchor. And so what they ultimately do is, we have anchors, all of us. So whether sometimes people go into somebody's home and they smell some cooking, and it reminds them of a flashback of their mum's cooking back at home, and you have all these beautiful memories come through. So ultimately what we do is we anchor on anywhere in your body, but we anchored on my left shoulder, all the negative emotions from that evening. And then the trainer helped me super stack on the other side some really positive ones like love, laughter, certainty, passion. And the idea is that there's more positive than negative. So when we fight off the negative, we fight off the positive, let go of the negative, keep holding on. And you can literally, the sensation through my body was phenomenal. I could actually feel it overpowering.
Wow.
And
incredible.
here we are.
So tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing today.
Yeah, thank you. So working with, like I said, any client that feels they've had some trauma within their life, and I've been very blessed and humbled to work with some people who've experienced some very, very traumatic moments in their life, from physical abuse, sexual abuse, some addiction abuse as well, which is normally stemmed from other events in their life. And as we sit here today, I'm again very, very humbled to say that we've had a 100% success rate with all of our clients that have lived with some of these traumas from up to 50 years in their life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Isn't it cool?
Well,
The greatest thing that he's been able to break through his life with, he's now sharing that with others.
I often find, Sharon, that that's the way with coaches. Like whatever they've travelled and they've broken through and they've had that massive shift in their life where they have a freedom, they want to give it away. That's why I'm a fan of this work that we do as coaches. And it's really giving people the access to that, because when you've touched about NLP, and people get a little bit, when they hear that neuro-linguistic programming,
Definitely.
what's that all about? It really is in the world of modelling successful people's behaviour. Like, it's looking at what works in the world, and it's a complete distinction from what's right or wrong.
Yes.
Forget about what's right or wrong, because what happened to you was, in the world of, you could pick up the media, it will tell you what was wrong that happened to you. But it's had a massive benefit to you in that so far that you've been able to help others get through this. So it's worked in your life. It didn't work at the time of the event.
Yeah.
That's what didn't work. But you've been able to break through that thing that didn't work and been able to share it and move on and just give it away and give it away and give it away.
Yeah.
That's awesome work that you're doing. So, when I said he was master of meaning to life, that's what we're talking about, because now you've got a different meaning to that event.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you was, do customers come to you, or do you hunt them down? Like, how does that work?
Hunt them down. I like that.
Hunt down customers, or how do you get them?
Look, a lot of my work has come through referral and word of mouth. It's obviously for a lot of people, it's quite a sensitive topic and part of their life. A lot of people you know, like what I was doing for a long time, I was putting on the mask, I was putting on the suit every day saying, I'm all good, I'm all fine, I'm normal, which is a lot of people who have suffered some form of trauma in their life is ultimately what their aim is. They want to feel normal. And so it's, and even within our society, you know, the statistics on people that have been impacted by some form of trauma is super, super high. And so for the little coverage that it gets in our media and through our people, that it would be just great to get that exposure a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Cool. Right, let's hold it right there, because you're going to hang with us after the break. You've got one of your clients coming in. We'll be straight back after this message.
Hi and welcome back to Coaches on the Couch, your relationship specialist exploring human behaviour. Phil.
Yeah, well, we've got Jakub on the couch right now, and Jakub has brought along one of his clients. Now, Rachael's come to join us on the couch. Welcome, Rachael. Rachel's going to talk through and with Jakub about her experience and how Jakub coached Rachael through this.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's
Great
a pleasure to be
you.
here. Yeah.
So give us a bit of background. How come you ended up speaking with Jakub?
Oh, for me, my history dates back a bit of a love-hate relationship with alcohol, which took me to some pretty dark and desperate and, horrible places, essentially. And I'd done a lot of things over a number of years, but it was never like I was able to finally release myself from the hold that it had. So even though I wasn't necessarily drinking anymore, it was like there was a wound that had never fully healed. And every once in a while, out of nowhere, I'd just behave in a really random way, and that actually probably hurt more than when I was in the thick of it. And it was for 20 years on and off, so you can do some pretty epic damage in 20 years.
That's true.
Yeah, you can.
So how is it that you came about to meeting Jakub then?
I heard of him through the community. So I had taken the coaching journey myself, and it was really important for me to be able to be the best that I can be for my clients, to be able to get over my own stuff. And also when I looked at Jakub, to me he was a role model because he had already achieved everything that I wanted to achieve. So I was like, I want to work with him.
Isn't that cool? That's the great thing about the coaching world, isn't it? We have so many people to turn to be able to, release those things.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Big time.
So how did you handle when Rachael came to you and you listened to her story?
Oh, absolute courage and resilience. For somebody to step up and take on that opportunity to have that belief and the possibility and the hope that there is change out there and never give up. We have the saying in the coaching world, if it's been done once before, why can't it happen again? And obviously the work that we do is being used, the frameworks that we use are around for over 40 years, so we know they're proven. It's just a matter, I think what Rachael said, there was obviously a connection there, and I shared in my own fashion a similar journey. So with much respect and very humbled for her to be able to step up and take that journey.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And what has it done for you today? What has it led you to?
It's really, how I was saying, it's like a Band-Aid and it never quite healed, whereas now it's just gone. It's gone, and in the most wonderful way. And what I mean by that is I just don't have anything that comes up anymore, and I'm just able to see the gift in it, and I'm really passionate about sharing the message. And the reason for that is too many things happen behind closed doors, too many conversations aren't had, or they're not brought to the table for whatever reason. And I think that the more that we can actually get that message out, everyone will realise that, it's completely normal. A lot of people have challenges, a lot of bad things happen to great people. And the more that we can talk about that in everyday language, the more that we can help people to move forward.
I think everyone, without exception, has their story.
Yeah.
When Jakub spoke about it earlier on, when he was just going through life, enjoying life, going out for a few beers and just going through it. And then his story started.
Yeah.
Right? Your story started over a longer period. His happened in an instant. He never got over it.
Yeah.
We've all got a story running on somewhere.
Definitely.
And I love what you said when the conversations that have to be had.
Yeah.
Because quite often we don't have those conversations. We think we're just going to keep them here. And it's better if it's kept a deep, dark secret.
Yeah.
But everything has its consequences. And I think it's what Jakub alluded to earlier on when he said people turn to the drink because they're covering up other stuff.
Yeah.
There's something else that's happened, and it's like, and it's not just a drink. ice is cheap right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's the drugs, it's whatever escape it is. And sometimes it's work. And they use that to cover up what's really going on. And you can cover it up, but it's still there. It's like trying to put icing over a mud pie. It'll eventually will start to pop out. And you're right, even if you think you can deal with it logically, unless you've actually got it out of your system, it'll keep popping up. And it's what Rachael was saying before when she said, there was random times even after she thought that she dealt with it. And it's like when you said, as coming up to your big speech, that you the 7-year-old girl was still driving you even though you were 27, right? It's just like, oh, keep going. Right. We get caught.
We do.
Right? So it's perfectly sad.
You do, and the fears that we get caught up in appear to be so real because it feels real.
Doesn't it?
Right? Actually, we've got a viewer email that we could potentially read out that holds a lot of relevance to this discussion.
I think we've got time for it.
Yeah, go
sure.
for it.
Let's go. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. So this is, hi Sharon and Phil, around 12 years ago. I was driving on a freeway heading to a friend's house when a driver cut me off and almost caused me to hit another car. I tutored the person who cut me off, and now I really wish I didn't do that because soon after this driver began to road rage me, swerving towards my car and braking suddenly in front of me, which terrified me. I was shaking like a leaf and my heart was racing. I was bawling my eyes out and found it really hard to breathe. A lot of things going on there. Fortunately, I was able to exit off the freeway just in time before this person could and managed to get away safely. But since then, whenever I'm driving and someone speeds past me or brakes suddenly in traffic, I feel shortness of breath, panic, and feel completely freaked out. And I hate it. I know it's all in my head, but I can't seem to stop it. Anything you can suggest from Jessica in Burwood?
Absolutely. Thanks, Jessica, for reaching out. This is a great example, obviously, of the collapsed anchor. And I know we can't do that now, so I'd like to leave you with something that you can do. Most importantly is to understand that what you've experienced is absolutely normal and your reaction is all about survival. What it's time to realise is that when you're driving, about how safe you are. And it's about understanding that people have always been around you and that when cars going by and coming to you or any tooting that you can hear is absolutely part of your normal experience. You've heard those noises many, many times before. And it's just about taking a really deep breath and understanding that you're in a very, very safe space.
Yeah. And it's so perfectly said, Jacob. A lot of this is driven around survival. Even myself, my story I shared before,
Absolutely.
the fear of stave, it was survival, protecting myself moving forward. But I love what you said there, just to take a moment and breathe.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
I think, shifting the focus, what you guys were saying before, what you focus on is what you get. So looking at the opportunities to keep moving forward.
Love it.
Excellent.
What about yourself, Phil?
Oh, look, I want to say thanks to Jacob, and it's really been brave of you, Rachael, to come in here and tell us your story.
Oh,
and
thank you.
to get,
Pleasure.
and I mean, I think our viewers have got so much value around that too. Great.
Beautiful. Now, if you would like to know more about today's show, you can head on over to coachesonthecouch.com. And if you would love to have some challenges dealt with on Coaches of the Couch, you can contact us through the website as well.
So coachesonthecouch.com, hit that contact us button and you can please send us in your email.
Thanks very much for coming onto the show, Jacob and Rachael, and we look forward to seeing you next week.